The medical bay of the Celestial Harmony hummed with alien technology that would have seemed like pure magic to humanity just 2 centuries ago. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing vital signs and colors humans had no names for. Doctor. Susan Chen stood beside the crystalline stasis pod, her reflection distorted in its iridescent surface, watching the Draconi Prince's chest rise and fall in an impossibly slow rhythm. Still nothing? Captain Vexthor asked, his scaled hands clasped behind his back. The Draconi commander's wings were folded tight against his spine, a sign of deep concern among his people. Susan shook her head, exhaustion evident in the dark circles under her eyes. We've tried every protocol in the Alliance medical database. The neural inhibitor, the assassins used. It's unlike anything we've encountered. His mind is locked in some kind of suspended animation. Physically, Prince Zareth is fine, but mentally, she gestured helplessly at the pod. He's not there. It had been 3 weeks since the attack. 3 weeks since someone had poisoned the Draconi air, apparent at the Galactic Summit, sending the entire Alliance into chaos. The Draconi Empire, humanity's strongest ally against the Void Collective, was on the brink of civil war. Without their prince, the ancient bloodline that held their warrior clans together would fracture, and without the Draconi fleet, humanity's outer colonies would fall. The Covenant of Seven sent their best mystics, Vexthor said, his voice heavy. The Lumina channeled pure consciousness energy for 6 hours. The techno-sages of Kepler Station attempted 17 different neural interface protocols. He paused, his golden eyes meeting Susan's. Nothing works. Our prince dreams. But he will not wake. There has to be something we haven't tried, Susan insisted, but even she could hear the defeat in her own voice. The captain's communicator chimed. I must attend to the council. They are restless. He left unsaid what that meant. War preparations, succession battles, the end of an alliance. After he left, Susan remained, staring at the sleeping prince. Zareth looked peaceful, his scales shimmering with that ethereal glow the Draconi called their inner fire. In another context, he might have been mistaken for a statue, too perfect, too still. The sound of the door opening made her turn. Evan Martinez shuffled in, pushing a maintenance cart loaded with cleaning supplies. The young man offered her an apologetic smile. Sorry, Doc. Maintenance schedule. I can come back. No, it's fine. Susan rubbed her eyes. I should probably sleep anyway. Not that it helps. Evan had been part of the ship's support crew for 8 months, ever since they'd picked him up from a mining station in the terraform belt. He was good at his job, kept to himself, and had a strange talent for making everyone around him feel a little more human in the vastness of space. He began his work quietly, wiping down consoles and checking environmental systems. Susan gathered her tablets, preparing to leave, when she heard Evan's voice, casual and unconcerned. Get up, lazy. Susan froze. Slowly, she turned to see Evan standing beside the stasis pod, spray bottle in one hand, looking at the sleeping prince with the kind of exasperated expression one might give a friend who'd overslept. Evan. The pod exploded with light. Susan threw up her arm to shield her eyes as the crystalline surface cracked with a sound like 1,000 wind chimes. Prince Zareth's inner fire blazed to life, his scales erupting in patterns of gold and crimson that Susan had only seen in historical texts. His eyes snapped open, glowing with ancient power. Then he sat up, stretched, and yawned. Finally, Zareth said in Draconi, his voice rough from disuse. His eyes found Evan, and something like recognition flickered across his alien features. I heard you calling. Little one. Susan's tablet clattered to the floor. That's impossible. We tried everything. Every frequency. Every language. Every psychic resonance. Evan looked as confused as she felt. He looked like my roommate from college, always sleeping through his alarm. So I just said what I used to say to him. Zareth swung his legs over the side of the pod, his movements still sluggish. Your scientists and mystics shouted into the void with their powers and their machines, he explained, switching to standard. But they spoke in complexity. Layers upon layers of meaning. Protocols. Frequencies. He looked at Evan with something resembling respect. You spoke in simplicity. Truth without artifice. It cut through the fog like a blade. Captain Vexthor burst through the door, accompanied by a dozen guards. He stopped dead, seeing his prince awake. The humans, Zareth said, standing now, his full height making everyone in the room step back, are remarkable not because they are the strongest or the most intelligent. He placed a clawed hand on Evan's shoulder, and the young man looked like he might faint. They are remarkable because they have not forgotten how to be genuine. While we older races wrapped ourselves in ceremony and power, they retained something we lost in our ascension. What's that, Your Highness? Susan asked, her scientific mind racing to understand. Zareth smiled, revealing rows of crystalline teeth. The courage to treat a god prince like a lazy friend who needs to wake up. He laughed. A sound like distant thunder. This is why humanity will save us all. I think, not with bigger weapons or faster ships, but by reminding us what it means to be alive. He turned to Captain Vexthor. Send word to the Empire. The prince has awakened. And give this human... He gestured to Evan, who still looked shell-shocked. Whatever he wants. He has saved not just my life, but the Alliance itself. As the room erupted in activity, Susan caught Evan's eye. He shrugged, a small smile on his face. Get up, lazy, he muttered to himself, shaking his head. Of all the things to work, outside the medical bay, across the vast networks of the Galactic Alliance, the word began to spread. The prince had awakened. The crisis was averted, and humanity, the youngest race in the cosmos, had once again proven that sometimes the simplest approach was the most powerful magic of all.